others happen. Okay, so we want to go ahead and see if we can identify the H0 and H1. Okay. So number one here. In 2008, 62% of Americans volunteered the time for charity work. Okay. A researcher believed that this percentage is different today. Okay, so I'm going to say the original claim. Original claim. What is the original claim? What is the claim here? Well, a researcher believes that this percentage is different today. What percentage? They're talking about the 2008 percentage. So different means not the same. So that would just mean P is, well, in fact, this is P not equal. Okay, so P not equal, right? Because it's a difference. If it's different, then of course not equal. So not equal. Okay. Let me put that back here. Let me put a sense a little bit lighter. Okay, so P not equal what? The percentage in 2008. So 62%, 62% is 0.62. Okay, so that's the original claim. If claim is false, then what does that mean? Okay, if claim is false, so in other words, if P is not equal 0.62, then P must be small p must be 62. I mean 0.62. Okay, very simple. Okay, now which of these P equal 0.62, P not equal 0.62, which one's gonna go in the H0 and H1? Well, remember, H0 is always say equal, always contain equality. So that means that P equal 0.62, gonna go there. Okay. And P is not equal, gonna go to the H1. Now, you're welcome to read your procedure in the book. Okay. All right, next number two. Let's do one more. So number two, according to a study published in March 2006, the mean length of a phone call was 3.25. A researcher believed that the mean weight, the mean length of a car has increased since then. Again, the claim here is what the researcher the claim is what the researcher believes. So the researcher believes that the mean length of a car has increased. They were talking about the mean of the population, meaning the mean of all cars. Going to insert the mean for me has increased since. So what does that mean? Increase since. Well, it's obvious, right? Increase means the mean is bigger, so it is bigger. Make it bigger. So the mean is greater than, has increased since then. Increased from what? From March of 06, and the March of 06, the mean length of a car was 3.25. So mu is bigger than 3.25 minutes. Okay, so that is your original claim or claim. Right, now, again, if claim is not true, then mu must be what? Or the opposite of bigger than is less than or equal. So we're going to change that to be mu is less than or equal 3.25. Now, which of these two will go into H0 and H1? Once again, the H0 always said mu must equal. So we're going to go mu equal. Always equal what? 3.25. Okay. Now, even though there's no straight, well, there's no exactly equal 3.25, but the fact that the H0 always claim equality, then it is this case here, okay? The case where you have less than or equal, that's gonna go with the H0. And that's why sometimes some other books will use exactly this right here, mu less than or equal 3.25 into the H0. Okay? But in our textbook, in our class, we're gonna use just straight equal, okay? All right, and then H1 is always has inequality. It always has the less than, bigger than, or not equal. So mu bigger than 3.25 is gonna go with H1, okay? So hopefully by now you should get used to how to figure out the H1, H0, okay? Once again, the H0 is always claim equality. H1 always claim inequality, okay? So this should be right in your procedure. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and do some testing here. We're gonna do some atrial problem. All right, so this is the fun here. So number one, 50% of voters are Democrats. The Republican candidate takes a poll to assess his chance in a two-person race. He polls 1,200 potential voters and finds that 621 plans to vote for the Democratic candidate. Use alpha 0.05 and the p-value method to test the Republican chance of winning. Right, now before we get into the age 1 and age 0, we want to compute the sample proportion, okay? Because he polled 1,200 and then found that 621 gonna vote for the Democrats. So for his sample, remember p hat is x divided by n, x over n, x divided by n, x divided by n. Okay, so what is x? What is x? Now, this case, x is the people who plans to vote for the Democrats. Or Democratic candidates. Okay. So put right here. So that means that x must be what? X must equal the 621. Okay, so that's obvious. What is n? N will be the potential voter. So for this case, n is 1,200. Okay, because the Republicans poll shows 200 people. And found that 621 of them will vote for the Democrats. So where's my p hat? So p hat will be 621 divided by 621 divided by 1,200. That's gonna give us 0.5175. All right, so that is our p hat. So in other words, the Republican polls of 1,200 and found that about 51.75% of them will vote for the Democrats. Okay, so the question is this going to be enough for him to win? It looks like he's going to lose, huh? Because 0.51 is more than 50%. So it looks like Republican chance is going to be no good. I mean, the Republican chance of winning is no good. Well, we'll see. Is that going to be good enough? Okay, so pretty much the Republican did a internal poll. Okay. Now, what is his chance of winning? Tells us to win, he must get what? He must get more than 50%. So because of that, the original claim will go that P is bigger 0.5. Okay. Okay, so you need to understand that. Okay. Chance of winning is that he must get more than 50%. If not, he's not gonna win. Okay, so the original claim is his chance of winning that's the same saying chance of winning. He must get P, small p, that is, okay. Not a big P, small p. He must get proportion to be more than 50% for him to win. So if claim is false, if claim is false, then the opposite of P bigger than 0.5 will be, that is, P is the opposite of bigger than is less than, so P must be less than or equal 0.5. All right, and now we're gonna go which claim, the original claim or the false claim, false claim. Either the original claim gonna go with the H0 or the one that says the claim is false. Or sometimes the alternative claim, right? Sometimes called the alternative claim. So alternative claim. All right, so which one's gonna go where? Once again, our P0 is always said, sorry, H0 is always said P must equal, so P equal. This case we're talking about proportion, so P equal 0.5. Okay, so that's our H0. Where's our H1? Well, of these two, the one that only have inequality is this one, P bigger than 0.5. So that's going to go with the H1. Okay. All right. So I shortened the step, right, 1, 2, 3 to single steps. I mean, the 1, 2, 3 of the procedure in the book into single steps, step 1. Okay. So H0 is P equal 0.5 and H1 is P bigger than 0.5. Like it looks like based on his poll, he has well more than 51%, about 51%, I'd say about 52% of people vote for the Democrats. So he might have no chance, but we'll see. All right, number 2, I want to know we want to know the significance level alpha, and we're told that it is 0.05. So we're going to put down 0.05. So alpha is 0.05. Well, not 0.5, but 0.05. Step 3 here, I'm going to compute the appropriate test statistics. Now, we want to know the formula. So this is talking about proportions. So look at the formula sheets, and you should see that the formula for proportion is Z is equal P hat minus P divided by what? Divided by the square root of PQ divided by N. So we're gonna write the square root of PQ or QP, same thing, divided by N. Okay, so look at your formula sheets and you should know that this is the formula that you're going to use. Okay, so now we know what P hat is. P hat we got this to be 0.5175 right here at P hat. And we know what P is. P is right there, 0.5. Okay, so plug it in. Point 0.5175. That is our P hat minus our P, which is 0.05. Let me write it down here. So let's see. Yeah, okay. P hat is 0.5175 minus our P, which is 0.5, or 0.50. divided by the square root of p hat q hat. So I'm sorry, p and q. So p is 0.5 multiplied by what is q? Now remember that q is 1 minus p. So q must be 1 minus 0.5. It is still 0.5. So p is 0.5, q also 0.5, divided by n, which is 1200 right here. So use your calculator. You're going to compute that. And you should get z is 1 point, should get z to be 1.212. Now I'm gonna put into just 2 decimal digits, so it'll be about 1.21. Okay, because I want to look at the p value. All right, now once you got the appropriate test that z-score to be 1.25 and 1.21. Next step, I'm going to compute the p-value. Okay. So step 4, we're going to find the p-value and compare it. Again, find the p-value and compare it to the alpha. So to get to the p-value, we will need the critical. We will need the test stat z-score. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this thing. Draw the graph here. Now, because the fact that the H1 says P is bigger than, that means that I'm gonna have a right tail test. Okay, so this one tells me I have a right tail. So when I draw my graph, I will draw the area on the right. Okay, so we'll draw that on the right. So area on the right. And that's the z-score of about 1.21. The area on the right now becomes our p-value. So p-value is what we want. It is the area on the right of the test stat z. Okay. If you have 2 tests, then you will have both of them. Now, to get the area on the right of z.21, we saw that in the previous chapter, right? So we're going to go back to the table, look for the z.21, and look for the area of that to the right, not the left. Don't forget, this is to the right, not the left. So you want to go to that z-score, get the area of that, and then subtract that from 1 to get the p-value, okay? Because this is area on the right, not on the left, don't forget. So if you do it right, you should get the p-value to be I got 1 point, z is 1.21. Subtract it from 1, so you should get 0.1131. So the p-value should be 0.1131. This is again from the from the z table. Now again, if you don't remember how to use the z table, you're going to take this z-score, find the area, and then subtract from 1 to get the p-value of 0.1131. Now the area is only on the right side only because this is a right tail test or right tail. Then that's all we have. Okay. So next, we want to look at the alpha. So p-value versus alpha, pretty much. Now, if you look at your notes, look at your procedure in the book, it will say if the p-value is less than or equal alpha, then we want to reject the H0. If not, then we're gonna not reject H0. P-value, oops. If the p-value is bigger than alpha, then we're gonna fail to reject H0. Okay, so our alpha is 0.05. Alpha is 0.05. Our p-value is 0.1131. What is the case? Well, our p-value is so p-value is 0.1131. That is definitely bigger than alpha, which is just simply the 0.05. So I'm adding another step here saying reject H0. Well, this is we're gonna fail to reject H0. Fail to reject H0. Why? Because our p-value is bigger than alpha. Okay. So p-value, if p-value is bigger than alpha, this is the case that we have, then we want to reject, we're not going to reject the H0. Okay. right? So in your procedure, you should say if p-value is less than or equal alpha, then you reject. If p-value is bigger alpha, then you not reject. So in this case, we have the fact that 0.11 is bigger than 0.5. So we're not gonna reject H0. Okay, now the last step here, we want to make conclusion about the claim. Okay, so there are two conditions. So we fail to reject the H0, right? And then we want to look at the original claim. Okay, so original claim. Okay, so we want to go back here and look for the original claim. And the original claim says P is bigger. Okay. Says P is bigger. So it does not include equality. Now, based on those two conditions, we will look at our table and see if we want to see how we're going to say this thing. See how we're going to make the conclusion. So we're going to look at this. So we want to look at the conclusion of this. So we're going to go back and look at the table. It is table 8.3. Okay, now, like I said, we can use the table 8.3 or you can use this chart here. Okay. I like to use the table here. So again, based on our problem, the original claim does not include equality, so this is the case, and we failed to reject, so this is the second case here. So we have this case now, okay? So our case here, we have the original claim does not include inequality, and we fail to reject. So this is what we're gonna say. This is how we're gonna say the conclusion. There is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that whatever that is. So we're going to say something like this, that conclusion. There is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that what? The claim says his chances of winning. So to support the claim that P bigger than 0.5, the Republican chances of winning. So we're just gonna put the Republican chances of winning. So I'm gonna put this in parentheses here, and we're gonna put the wording right there and there. Okay, so this is how we're gonna say this is how we're gonna say something like this. So there is not sufficient evidence to support the claim no, I would say to support, put it this way, to support the Republicans' chance of winning. Okay, so we're gonna say something like, there's not such evidence to support the Republican candidate's chance of winning. Now, even though right, his poll showing right here, his own poll showing 51%. Well, but that is the Republicans. That is the people that gonna vote for the Democrats, right? So this is the saying that about 51% will vote for the Democrats. So Ika is saying he has no chance. Okay. So the conclusion kind of suggests that. Right. To make it sense, we're gonna say that there's not sufficient evidence to support the Republican chance of winning. Okay. That is that the people who vote for the Democrats is more than 50%. In other words, there's no sufficient evidence to support the claim that P will be more than 50. All right.